management would like you to put your hands together for the one, the only, Freddy Fazbear.
Sometimes we see fire, but he always wakes up in his bed eventually.
School the next day, and everyone's just like, oh, hey.
This explicit reveal changes so much about how we... Turning it into a drama is one of the smartest and most masterful reveals in history. And it makes Kenny's empathy with how the visual that much more impressive because he is feeling the character who has gone through more than anybody else has described and brutalism. First and a powers entirely self-raised, and it would be hard to believe that he forced to endure all of this trauma. But instead, Kenny is self his character in the show. And in these Coon and Friends episodes, it leads Kenny to try and learn more about this curse. And I actually believe that I've uncovered a major aspect of Kenny's immortality that I haven't really seen anyone else talk about. While researching Cthulhu, Kenny discovers that his parents used to attend cult meetings, and he confronts them about this. I also love that his confrontation here reveals that Kenny had used his Mysterion persona previously to make his home life better for himself and for his siblings. We did what you told us. We treat our kids better. We don't beat each other up with life. But Kenny confronts his parents about the Cult of Cthulhu meetings that they attended 10 years prior. They claim that they only went for free beer, and they were too drunk to remember what actually happened at them. At the end of the trilogy, Kenny doesn't get any concrete answers, and then he kills himself in front of his friends, which then cuts to his parents, revealing that when Kenny dies, his mother immediately gives birth to him again. Something sort of hinted at back in Cartman Joins Nabla, though that was showcased slightly differently. But Kenny's parents then put the baby Kenny back in his bed, and he seemingly ages back to 9 years old overnight.
We should have never gone to that stupid cult meeting.
On the audio commentaries for these episodes, Trey Parker mentioned this. There's one part in this show that's not spoken, that's sort of a hidden thing that reveals a bit more of what is actually going on.
I am experiencing a malfunction. The recharge cycle is not complete.
And after digging through the episode, I think that this is what Trey was referring to. It depicts a group of women figures surrounding a baby in a sort of summoning circle, clearly performing some kind of ritual. The only thing that Henrietta says about it is this.
Tulu and other beings are prominent, but for years cultists have tried to bring it to power.
So this is depicting some kind of ritual to attempt to bring beings from the sunken city to our world. But unmentioned is the baby. Kenny's parents were arrested 10 years prior to this at those cult meetings, which puts the time frame that they were actively attending the meetings right around the time of Kenny's birth. I expect that the ritual depicted in the Necronomicon was actually performed with a baby Kenny while his parents were blackout drunk at one of these meetings. The question is, did the ritual itself and its connection to the sunken city place the curse of immortality onto Kenny? Or is it possible that a being from the Lost City actually did cross over and inhabited Kenny's body and was then raised as this human child? It could also explain why Kenny's soul was able to be transferred into Cartman back in season 6. I wonder if they'll ever follow this up or not, or can it just remain a cool little background detail? Assuming I got any of that right. Maybe Trey was referring to something entirely different, but I have a feeling I'm onto something. This is actually another trilogy of episodes I want to dedicate to on one day, but it is filled with so many great moments, especially after the reveal that he experiences and remembers all of his deaths. And ultimately, it's really sad for him, ever learning anything substantial about his origins or his curse, with Midgar and Fronts taking the spotlight at the end. But that didn't stop Kenny from continuing to use his superhero persona for the good of others. Season 15's The Boar Kid, in particular, is probably my favorite Mysterion appearance, with the reveal that he has continued to use his alter ego to help his family, this time his younger sister, Karen. Karen was introduced back in Best Friends Forever as a background character, and this was her first real substantial role. Kenny and his siblings are put into foster care when his parents are arrested, and Karen has an incredibly hard time adjusting. But who shows up to help her?
Done, Gregory. There is an open-air vent inside.
Always coming inside.
I truly love the idea that Kenny acts as Karen's guardian angel when she meets him through Mysterion. Kenny is a great brother, but the fact that he uses his alter ego to not just fight for her by beating up her bullies, but also talking her through these difficult situations, it's really touching.
You are not. No matter where you go, no matter what you do, I will always be here.
Kenny's relationship with his sister is one of my favorite expansions to his character, and I hope we get more of this in the future. In Season 19's the city part of town, the area where the performers live is gentrified and turned into a hip spot called Soda Sopa, which completely interrupts their lives and drives up their cost of living. To help out, Kenny gets a job at City Walk, but after his dad is really shitty towards him and his siblings, Kenny decides to use the money for something else instead. After Soda Sopa falls apart and the area becomes more dangerous, Kenny and Tolkien dress up as ninjas to scare away vagrants. Also, Kenny can protect his family. Just about every visitor Kenny brings in his era is some underlying aspect of being part of nature's. Season 16's going native, Butters even reveals that the only person he respects at all is Kenny. Kenny ends up helping all of the quote-unquote native Hawaiians in this episode by bringing them a lost stock of cheap ingredients, though these people actually suck pretty hard since they aren't actually native Hawaiians, just tourists who have basically set up in Hawaii permanently. But I like Kenny's willingness to help Butters in this episode a lot. In Season 18's Cock Magic, when the kids discover the underground Magic Gathering tournaments where roosters face off against one another, Kenny's main concern is for the poor roosters. And when their rooster, McNuggets, is poised to face off against Gatnog, Breaker of Worlds, Kenny takes his place and plays him instead. I know that sounds silly, but Gatnog literally killed the rooster right before this. Kenny was putting himself in actual danger. And at the end of the episode, Kenny was still not concerned for himself.
Way to go, superstar!
The only episodes in this era that I don't quite know how to fit into this development is the Black Friday version, where Kenny roleplays as Princess Kenny, the narration of PS4 versus Xbox One conflict. I guess it could be seen as more escapism, which I don't blame Kenny for. It definitely sounds like you would need it every so often to live ridiculously traumatic life. He's clearly meant to be a Daenerys Game of Thrones character. He does a lot of backstabbing and side swapping in his role as Princess Kenny. But there's one episode that I think not only encapsulates Kenny as a person, but also sets up the next big piece of development for his role in the show, and that's Season 22's Halloween episode, The Scoots. When all the kids decide to use the new e-scooters on Halloween so they can cover more ground and get more candy, Kenny is left out because he doesn't have a cell phone to be able to activate the scooters. And man, the boys telling Kenny that he's going to be left out of the trick-or-treating is so freaking sad.
I mean, if we're waiting for you, we're gonna be as slow as all the other kids.
Because of how genuine and sweet Kenny is, this hurts even more. Everyone abandons him because he can't ride the e-scooter. And when the influx of more kids on scooters for Halloween sends the town into chaos, Kenny teams up with Mr. Mackey to destroy the cell phone tower, get rid of the scooters, and save the town from being destroyed. Mackey actually makes some really poignant observations on Kenny's role in the show and his characterization here.
Do not worry, Gregory. Even if we are spotted, you are safe with me. She would never suspect we are traveling together.
It's nice to see a character directly say he's thinking about Kenny. He is such a good-natured kid, and he deserves more than he gets. He even puts his life in danger again in this episode to take out the cell phone tower. And honestly, though they don't explicitly say it, I'm pretty confident that Kenny dies in the cell phone tower collapse. I don't see how he could have survived.